Don't tell me what I've seen. I'm 50 years old. I know what I've seen.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
We're having a lot of fun here on a Friday. Evan Giddings in for Matt Steinmetz. Guru here as always. Stein will be back next week from London. Dude,
Think he'll be in a good mood?
I actually think he will.
Yeah. He's been in a great mood here lately.
He told me before we left that he was like, man, when I see you, I'm going to be down bad.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Well, yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
Wow.
You're ready to load on me.
That dude.
I got to throw this at you, though,
Yeah.
Goo. We're going to get to the calls in a minute, 888-957-9570. But, so, at camp today, Niners are out practicing. Kyle Shanahan described the hug that was between him and Ayuk as a bro hug, how they greet each other. But I also saw this from our timeline. Deebo Samuel signed the forehead of a newborn baby. Is that fair or foul? Like, I don't have kids. I think everyone in this room, well, Carter doesn't, but both Ken and yourself both got children. Would you ever let an athlete sign your baby?
Now, first, I want to call Child Services. With all the stuff going around, I don't know, was it a Sharpie?
Yes.
What was it like?
Yeah, Sharpie just signed the forehead.
Hey, I'm the biggest sports guy there is, but come on, you don't put anything on the kid at this young infant stage. Ugh. Now, I'm not mad at Deebo, but the parents, good gosh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, Ken. It's from, what was it, the candidate?
The campaign.
The campaign, yeah. Will Ferrell signs the forehead of a newborn baby.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
That can't go. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I understand a Sharpie might be, like, you're not actually infecting the child. You know, it's not going to hurt it. But seriously, there are a lot more things that you could sign. Number one, that are permanent. Number two, that I feel like would be more appropriate to sign than a newborn baby.
You're always bringing up race. I doubt those were black parents. they ain't. Come on, man. You can't. A brand new baby? Come on.
Oh, man.
You don't do that, Evan.
Well, you're right on the money.
Come on.
It was one of my fellow Caucasians.
Well, do you got a picture?
Yeah, I'm checking it out right now.
Yep.
A fellow light-skinned person.
What about Carter coming in answering your question with the A's moving to Sac is the shock?
Oh, yeah, the most surprising thing that's happened in the Bay Area sports scene this summer. The A's moving to Sacramento. Them moving, I guess, wasn't shocking, but them going to Sac, that might have ruffled some people.
To play in a AAA stage, you know I love me some Sacramento. We're going to see Ohtani tonight.
Yes, we are.
But come on, Evan, I'm dreading that. Visiting teams are going to have to play in a AAA park.
Well,
because Oakland couldn't handle their business and Wolf's an idiot.
There's just a lot of logistical things. Yeah, John Fisher doesn't know what the hell's going on, but there's a lot of logistical things that just won't work. Like, there's no tunnels from the dugout. So can you imagine this? Because this is going to happen at some point next summer.
I didn't even think about that.
So let's say like the Yankees are coming to Sacramento next year. Aaron Boone gets ejected. You know what he's going to have to do? He's going to have to walk from the dugout all the way out to left field through the gate to get to the clubhouse. So the entire game is just going to have to stop.
This is how your boy Fisher wanted it, man.
It's going to be the most minor league thing that we've ever seen. Wow. That certainly is a surprise to some people. I didn't expect Sacramento, but I didn't expect
it was Vegas. Like, I
it will be Vegas.
I don't think it will, Evan. I think this...
It's supposed to be,
okay.
I guess.
You read the tea leaves. Hey, wake me up when it happens, but that's a great one. But the Klay Thompson one, that's the leader in the clubhouse to me, man.
I think so. And speaking of the Warriors, Alonzo in San Francisco wants to ask you a question, Goo.
Uh-oh.
Let's get out to Alonzo right here in the city.
Zo.
What's going on, my man? How are you?
What's going down? You guys doing great today.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what his explanation is, because we all know it's going to take the max money to keep Kuminga after next year, right? So I want him to explain why he thinks Kuminga should get the max money, which probably like $200 million or something crazy, right? So why does he get that max money? Why does he deserve the max money? I don't get it.
Was that to me, Evan?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm with you. I would be petrified to give Kuminga, who's not a finished product, that much money. But what we're learning in sports now is you get the pay before you get the proof. And that's one Jordan Love. He's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and he's got as much question marks as Brock Purdy. And Brock's up. So he must have misquoted me or misheard me. I've never been in the camp of pay Kuminga. I was willing to deal Kuminga because I don't think he will get the polish and the moxie enough to be a Kevin Durant type of scorer, even Paul George. Love his athleticism, but I believe the Warriors have nothing in regard to the future in their cabinet if they let one Jonathan Kuminga go. So if it's not this year, Evan, it's going to be next year. Somebody's got to get paid, and somebody's got to be deemed the future. And right now, he's the leader in the clubhouse, to me.
Yeah, but by process of elimination, I think that's the hesitance that a lot of fans have. Also, I would say, yes, I mean, Love hasn't proven a ton yet.
And I like him.
But all the quarterbacks that have gotten paid have proved more in their respective field than Jonathan Kuminga has. Now, you could make a case that's because he hasn't gotten much opportunity.
Yeah.
But you are right now, if you choose to extend Kuminga, paying him more on what you think he will do as opposed to what you've seen, because we haven't really seen that much. Like, you can make a case in this last season that we saw more from Brandon Pajemski, and that's why I think that during trade talks this entire summer, why sure Kuminga's name is involved and teams that are rebuilding would like a piece of that potential. But if you're asking me, would I rather trade for JK and pay him, or would I rather trade and get Pajemski and plug him in right now? I think I would lean more towards Pods. I don't think that Pods is going to turn into James Harden, but I know what I'm going to get from him.
Man, Evan, when you put it like that, I do agree. And again, I was a guy going to support my son, team manager at Santa Clara, watching Pods play, and to see what he's blossomed into, it's incredible. But, Evan, when you put it the way you just put it, I'm with you. And I know Steiny always talks about Kuminga didn't pick up a basketball and start playing, in his teens or whatnot. But, Evan, at the end of the day, man, this dude, I think there's too many roadblocks. There's again, if BPA is listening, I think there's two timelines again. Kuminga's timeline, which I think he'll never get to, playing with Dre and Steph. And if this were a Rocket team or the Toronto Raptors and it was open gym and Kuminga could do what he excels at, run and show those athletic gifts, Evan, I would write that check. But now we need him to use the IQ. I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but he gets lost on defense. And when he told the reporters last year around Christmas time that he got to think of his computer goes to the OGs first, I don't think he can just let it all hang out and be the best Kuminga he can be. So that scares me about the Warriors is you may have to pay him, but also he'll be batting a basketball version of seventh instead of third and fourth, where ideally that's what he is. But we can't find that out because Steph's here. And I get why Steph's here, but it scares me. I watch these games, Evan, and I'm like, man, he'll never be the name on the marquee. And Kuminga's the type of player right now, to me, that's where we're really going to find out, does he have the goods? But I always think he'll never be able to get the big piece of the pie until Curry and Dre are gone. And I could be wrong.
No, but unlike the Niners, and look, there's more roster spots and all the rest, but the Niners have a lot of, older, cornerstone players, but they've also established now kind of a nice little group of younger up-and-comers that are more established. I think Bosa's been around for a while, but he's 25, 26. Purdy, obviously. And they're looking for more than that. Most of their guys are right in the midst of their prime. The Warriors don't have that situation. Unfortunately, I do think that, no matter what you think about Kuminga or Pods, I do think both of them, just like Ayuk, will remain with their team. Because of the news we found earlier today from Evan Shittery, national NBA reporter from Forbes, basically saying that it doesn't appear like Lauri Markkanen is going anywhere. The Jazz are expected to give him a contract extension next week before the deadline on August 6th, and he's probably going to be a $40 million basketball player by the time that the season starts.
And I'll say this, Evan, if you look at the books in regard to Markkanen, a lot of people scoffed. We don't want him here. Dude can play some damn basketball. And if you're going to say Utah is not good and put it all at his doorstep, that is so unfair. Dude, 7 foot, could put it on the floor, create his own shot, make free throws, shoot the three. Like, I was all in, But it's just maddening again if the Warriors were really trying to do all they could to get a Paul George, and now if Lauri Markkanen, who it makes all the sense in the world, like, Evan, I would build around Markkanen if I were Utah. Like, it makes sense, but I guess I'm just mad at myself for, biting another pill of, man, maybe this thing will come to fruition. Maybe it'll happen. And it looks like right now it's not going to. And the old Fitz model, when he joined our show and set it on fire with, Draymond doesn't get suspended, yada, yada, yada. But now Clay's gone. So, that energy he exuded now needs to we need to get a remix.
Yeah.
To now there's no Clay. Are you still that confident? And they'll probably be like, yeah, Goo, but this is not the offseason I thought thus far. And if they don't get Markkanen, then it's a wrap. The only thing that's going to change is the trading deadline, but that's after the ball tips in November. Damn it, Evan. I'm here for it. I'm a root, but boy, running it back looks like that's what it is, man.
I don't think they are running it back, though.
Well, no Clay?
Yeah, Klay Thompson's in Dallas. I mean, they have 3 brand new players on this team that essentially make what Klay Thompson made or would have made. And I do think they're in a better overall position. Now, the question is how much better, and we're going to find that out. To me, though, and that's what I think one of our callers, might have been BPA, brought up, like, that is the most surprising part of the summer. The fact that they moved Klay and basically don't have a replacement as a number 2. I can see that. I mean, to me, I still think the most surprising part about this summer for me is them drafting Ricky Pearsall. In fact, I'll take it a step further.
That's a good one, man.
Because I do think that Brandon Ayuk and Kyle Shanahan talked about at the podium a little while ago that's just how they greet each other. It's a bro hug. Might not mean much, but
I've never seen it before.
I'm reading in. I don't think a player that believes that they have a chance to get traded or is going to get traded would be as jovial as Brandon Ayuk was yesterday. Maybe that's just me. But if that's the case, and Ayuk's going to have a contract, well, if I'm looking at every first-round pick, the only other pick that's more confusing to me than the Niners taking Ricky Pearsall,
give it to me,
is the Falcons taking Michael Penix.
Wow, man.
Because they also have a court.
Yeah.
But it's...
Give him $100 million.
Now that one is confounding. I do not get it whatsoever. I don't see the vision.
Damn.
I don't know why he's on that team. But the second most confusing pick from this most recent first round, if Ayuk's on the team, it's Ricky Pearsall.
And I don't like that. Like, let's just say you're proven wrong because I'm in the same boat with you now. Nothing to do. But Evan, why would you put that spotlight on your team when it's Operation Get Back? Maybe you need a corner. Maybe you need somebody to replace Greenlaw because it'll be a little... O-line, we all can admit they needed that. But to re-up Jennings, who's shown he's big time, and go that way with Ricky Pearsall just tells me that wasn't the right pick. That was not the area of need. So if Ayuk is back, and I want him back, Evan, you are right. And let's say they don't get to the heights again. I don't think it's unfair to double back and say, what the hell were you guys doing? And then all I think of real quick here, Lynch on his phone, Brandon put fire emoji. What the hell? I just playing that back. Like, how could Brandon send fire him? That's what he sent it, but he doesn't mean that because he's got to be thinking about his chicken and he's got to be thinking about his boy from Arizona State might be his replacement. And now look, months later, he's at practice on the sideline, but we're supposed to believe the DAP was, what you doing tonight? Watch Fresh on Netflix this weekend. It's baffling, man. It really is.
No, the other part, too, is, okay, if your argument is that they needed depth at the position, well, that's fair. I mean, they also drafted Jacob Cowing in the 4th round. That's another wide receiver. If you're looking at how they distributed their draft this year, the 2 positions or groups that they spent the most on would be wide receiver, Pearsall and Cowing, and then the secondary. They drafted Malik Mustafa in the 4th round, who... People are saying, Larry says incredible. Larry Kruger's very high on. And then, of course, in the 2nd round, Renardo Green. So those 2 spots, they didn't spend much on the defensive line, and they didn't address much at the linebacking position because they signed Devondre Campbell. So, look, they drafted 2 linemen. They got Pooney in the 3rd round. They got Kingston in the 6th round. They even, took a running back, Garendo, in the 4th round. So like they kind of spread it out. But again, you also drafted Gray a couple of years ago in the third round.
Oh, boy.
Apparently he's not somebody that's going to be able to get on the field much. Ronnie Bell was a 7th round pick last year. He did get on the field last year.
I liked it. I thought he was doing okay.
But maybe he's not your answer there, apparently. And, Chris Conley was, signed last year, but isn't a guy that you want to depend on. I just don't know how much depth they really did need at that position in terms of a top-end talent.
All right.
And if you're telling me that there was no one else there, like I guess I'll hear it. But to me, a first-round pick is supposed to be a hit.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a player you feel an impact from, ideally, immediately. And if Ayuk is back...
That ain't immediately, bud, unless you're running 5 wide.
There's going to be a lot of practice jerseys on for Ricky Pearsall.
Again, that well said, Evan. And can I tell you my worst? You didn't ask me, but I'm just going to volunteer it. Evan, can I tell you something eating at me that I don't like about this Niner season and the word continuity that you brought up, and it was perfect? Evan, I'm sorry. I don't like Nick Sorensen. His name could be Evan Giddings. I don't like that they got a new defensive coordinator. I don't like the fact that Saleh and DeMeco Ryans parlayed this great defense into head coaching jobs, and they deserved it. And now here comes Nick Sorensen without the services of Greenlaw early. I'm just telling you, I don't like it. And it's nothing against Nick, Evan, but now we got I'm one of those guys foreshadowing the future. We come in here and the Niners have a bad defensive game. It's like, who's calling the D? Is it Staley? The eyes? Like Jennifer joined us yesterday, and she said he was, Lenore was saying this guy's great. He's giving me great insight. But, Evan, it has all the ingredients if the Niners D takes a step back of, oh, boy, we had a great run, no Greenlaw. Now we got one coordinator, or do we got 2? Do we got 1.5? And you can say I'm being negative, but that's not continuity. The fact that you went and got Wilkes and he's had a good Super Bowl. People think he got a raw deal, but it's just little stuff that and maybe you say, Goo, you're too negative, but I could just, one Monday morning we come in here, whose defense is it? I don't like that they got Staley even around, and it's nothing against Staley. It's like, I'm your DC or bust.
Well, I first want to take a look at the idea of a different DC. I think that was necessary. Now, I didn't think Steve Wilkes did as bad of a job as a lot of people described, but there's clearly a disconnect between him and Shanahan. And as much as
And Bosa.
And Bosa. And look, you're going to acquiesce to the player. You need to kind of figure out who they feel comfortable with. And if Wilkes wasn't the guy, I didn't pay Steve Wilkes $30+ million. I paid Nick Bosa. That's what we talked about with Dibs yesterday during the crossover. We'll talk to him again at 2 o'clock.
Dibbers.
At 1:48-ish till 2:12, hard out with him and Grandy. But I didn't pay Wilkes that amount of money. Just like I don't have to put everything on the defensive coordinator. If I'm giving Bosa that contract, I need him to be better. I need the defensive players that I'm paying big money to play better.
All right.
And it is the coordinator's job to put them in positions to succeed. But I guess I'm just a player over coach kind of guy. I believe the players dictate how the season goes, not the coaches.
I'm not mad at that, but just tell me what you think. And I hear you. I feel you. I tell you what, had Bill Belichick took that offer of becoming the defensive coordinator, there would be no eyes in the sky. And again, everybody's not the hoodie, but that's what I mean, Evan. Nick Sorensen, he may turn out to be the next coach of a future team and be great at his job. But what I don't like is you got somebody looking over your shoulder in a sense. But had you got Bill Belichick, it was his job and nobody's looking over his shoulder, if you kind of catch my drift.
Well,
it's like, Nick, you're our guy, but hey, here comes Staley. Just like you can't. I've been around the block, Evan. There's ingredients of uncertainty because Nick, this is his first time doing it, and if you had Bill or Wilkes even worked out, he didn't have anybody. Well, I guess he did looking over his shoulder, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be positive and spin it like nothing to see here, but boy, if somehow the Niner defense wasn't as strong as it's been,
Well, let's check in on Kyle Shanahan from Dave in Fresno. Dave is next up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, man? You're on with Evan and Goo. How are you?
Good afternoon, boys.
Hey.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yes, sir. So, I was listening to you guys earlier talking about the leader of the team, and we got a lot of leaders at different levels of the team. We're in a pretty good spot in that standpoint, but I think the leader needs to be Kyle Shanahan. What I mean by that is that we have the top left tackle in the league. We have the top running back in the league. We have a top 2 tight end in the league. You have a top 2 linebacker in the league. You have a top 5 corner in the league. You have a top 5 edge rusher in the league. You have an up-and-coming quarterback. I mean, I don't know what else. We need to get the job done. So we need the coach to be the leader and get this team over the hump. I'm not saying you can't, but that's who needs to be the leader because all the pieces are in place. And who knows what this team looks like next year. So we need Kyle Shanahan. You need to lead us. We need you. We need you not just in the regular season, not just against the Eagles in the rematch game or against the Cowboys. We need you when we have to face the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals. We haven't looked so good against those teams. So
let me jump in before you hang up. I think I know your answer. This is why I'm jumping in. Who do you blame the Super Bowl loss on?
I put that on Kyle. I think we were fully healthy. There was no excuses. We're the superior team at that point. I know they had the best player, but I feel like in these situations, Kyle's shown that I don't know if he just gets tight. I don't know. I don't see the same Niners and Kyle in these I do say against the Eagles in week 5 of the regular season.
I think
that's interesting to you.
I think Kyle Shanahan has been the leader of the 49ers, and that has shown us that as a leader, Kyle Shanahan can only get you so far. I think Kyle Shanahan, if he is the leader of this team, has shown you how far he can get you, which is really damn close. I think he needs someone else to lead him over the mountaintop and into the promised land. That's where I look at Brock Purdy. That's where I look at Brock Purdy.
Make a play, you mean?
Kyle Shanahan isn't under center. Kyle Shanahan doesn't run routes. Kyle Shanahan doesn't tackle. Kyle Shanahan doesn't block. It's Kyle Shanahan to call plays. And I think he does it better than almost anybody in football. I say almost because there's a guy who's beat him a few times that does it, I think, a little bit better. But Kyle Shanahan has shown you that he can get you there. He can put you in a position. He can put a very talented team in the right position. But he's also shown that sometimes he gets a little tight.
Way. Yeah.
That's where I need the human element to come into play. That's where I need the player element to come into play. And that's where in a perfect world, I need guys to run better, to run faster, to throw the ball quicker, to make quicker decisions, to block better. That's where I need someone else to step in and lead. And I think the man that is most appropriate for that position is Brock Purdy.
Man, well said. Wow. I don't disagree, but you said block. I just thought of the third down the Niners had. Could have scored, and Chris Jones just comes free, and they kick a field goal, Evan. So that happened in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage. Was that Kyle's fault? No. But you're right. Do your job.
It was also it might have been his fault. His team didn't know the rules. Like there are the coaching gaffes or whatever that I talked about.
Yeah.
But speaking of coaches, because you mentioned the hoodie, you mentioned Bill Belichick. He actually had something to say about what I believe was the biggest surprise of this summer from the Bay Area, and that was the drafting of Ricky Pearsall. If Brandon Ayuk is back with the 49ers next year. I want to play that sound on the other side. Make sure to download the Odyssey app directly from our QR code on both YouTube and Twitch, brought to you by First NorCal Credit Union for a low-rate auto loan. Apply online or just ask for First NorCal financing at the dealer. Also, make sure to join 95.7 The Game at Harding Park Friday, September 6th for the Pettinelli Financial Partners Golf Tournament benefiting the Autism Society's San Francisco Bay Area. Go to 957thegame.com to learn more. Presented by Atco Pest Control, the Bay Area's locally family-owned pest control company. 888-957-9570 is the number. What is the biggest surprise of the summer in the Bay Area? Does it have to do with the Warriors? Is it the Giants? Is it the Niners right now? What has surprised you about this summer? I want to dig into that and more on the other side. Again, Evan in for Steiny with Daryl the Guru Johnson. We're back after this.